Reverend Prema currently serving as the assistant to the bishop for the Synod of Alberta and the Territories, but originally came from India in 2001 to be a student at the Lutheran Theological Seminary in Saskatoon. LTS was my home. I did not know Canada. I did not know Saskatoon. So coming to Canada and coming to a smaller place than 9 million people was a huge culture shock. Needless to say about the winter that comes in a month after I arrived. So Saskatoon was a place that actually groomed me to live in Canada, groomed me to grow up in Canada. So my professors, my colleagues, my peers would come. I lived in the dorm, so I would come to trek across to St. Andrews to go to class, or Emmanuel St. Chad. They'd say, "Where's your mitts? Where's your toque? Where's your scarf? Where's your glove? That's not the coat you want to be wearing at this time. That's a long way out there, so go." So they were my parents. They will continue to be my family, and LTS will definitely have a very special place in my heart. I still call Canada, Saskatoon and LTS my Canadian home. It is a big deal when it comes to the title. However, it is a big deal in terms of the ability to serve the church in such a way, in a wider capacity, in a bigger capacity than what a parish pastor is able to do for their designated congregations. So Bishop Larry's and my congregations are pretty much throughout the synod, so serving the church in that way is a greater blessing. And coming from the heritage that I have, my mom was the first woman to be ordained in the Lutheran Church in India. My father was a pastor, so church life was, I am a P-square K. I grew up as a P-square K. So I have a long history of being in the church. So it validates the call even more poignantly to serve in this capacity. It was a light bulb, and yet it was a very gradual light bulb. Coming to Canada, was just the first step. As a woman, as an Indian, our culture is such that I would stay with my parents till I get married, and then I start to live with my family, my husband's family, or however we make that unit to be. So coming to Canada was away from my parents and under their safety was a very, very different experience, and something that's not very common, at least when I came. So the hope was that I would come to Canada, was just a stepping stone, and then go to the United States from here. But having been to Canada at LTS for a semester, when I had the opportunity to go back to Chicago, I just told my parents, no, this is the fit. This is where I belong. And this is where I need to be. I think it was LTS that turned that light bulb on, because it was harsh. I came from although a Lutheran heritage of parents, prior to them were converts, evangelists, so I come from a very mixed background when it comes to church. So grounding myself in the Lutheran foundation was very harsh, but yet very graceful. And all credit to LTS for that, because that was my bigger foundation, in spite of having grown up in a Lutheran church, but that was rooted in a very different culture. So to hear more of grace, to hear more of God's love, to hear more of God's presence here and now, as opposed to something that we look forward to, was a very strong moment, a faith moment, a faith spiritual life moment that LTS was a big part of.